Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited for today's topic. I think as we come to the end of 2021, a lot of people are really thinking about how the year has gone. And I definitely think there's been a few things that have helped me this year that has made 20 a really good year for me that I would love to share with you. So if you're looking for ways to make 2022 a year to remember, or just want to pick up some new tips, this is the video for you. So without further ado, let's get right into this. So firstly, I think there's a few things that have helped make 2021 a year to remember for me. I put this down into 4 key sections that I think have just been super helpful for me. So number 1 is planning and strategy. Number 2 is your body, mind, and soul. Number 3 is the voices around you. And then number 4 is like the habits that we pick up, mainly with being consistent. So number 1, planning and strategy. So there's a famous saying that goes, if you fail to plan, you're essentially planning to fail. And I can't stress how true this statement has been, especially for me in my life this year. In school, we know that if you do not take the time to write that perfect essay plan, right, you're going to struggle halfway through your exam. We know in work, if you don't really think about your strategy of how you're going to get promoted, you may stay in the same job for a long period of time. And I think that's true with the goals and just how we want the year to be. If you don't come into the year already expecting and thinking, how am I going to go about this? What is my plan to make sure that I succeed in X, Y, Z, right? You're just gonna probably have the same old thing happening to you. I was actually listening to one of my favorite podcasts a few weeks ago, and they said something great when it comes to planning in particular. And you should ask yourself these 3 questions. So if you're not too sure how to plan and how to set goals, right, these are 3 great questions. Simple, but they kind of change everything. Questions that you can ask yourself. So number 1 is your what. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to achieve? What area are you trying to change certain things? If you're trying to change, essentially you really just need to be clear on what, because then you know what to aim for. Number 2 is your why. So once you know your what, why are you doing it? Because it's so important to know your why, because there's going to be times that come, right, hard times, that you're like, I can't bother to do this, we can't do this one anymore. And you need to be like, no, hold up, we're doing this because of X, Y, Z. That why is going to keep you going. Once you know your what and your why, then the next question to ask yourself is your how, because essentially now you can build a strategy and plan and understand what is the road I can take and how am I going to do this. And I think one thing as well I've learned this year, and as the saying goes, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. If you know that you want to make 2022 a year to remember, sometimes you need to remember as well that you've got to do things differently if you want to expect different results as well. So your what, why, and how is going to help you when it comes to planning and building a great strategy, making 2022 a year to remember, because you essentially know your plan and know the path. Number 2 on how to make 2022 a year to remember, I've broken this down into 3 parts, which is your body, mind, and soul, right? This may sound cliche for some, but I have seen the real impact of focusing on each and every one of these elements. When it comes to your body, guys, health is really wealth. Over the last few years, honestly, I've started to see the impact of, if I'm being honest, I have not really lived a healthy lifestyle. I did not work out, I didn't really see the value. I'm always tired, I can't, and that exactly, I'm always tired, and that's actually impacted my ability to focus and get work done to a good standard, because sometimes I really struggle even to concentrate because I'm not giving my body the attention it needs. So from October, I was no, this has to change. Things need to change up in here, because if not, me always gonna be sleeping during the day. No, but I'm always gonna be tired because I'm not taking care. And I've really understand if you want to make 2022 a year to remember, please don't take lightly your health and just your body and taking care of your body, because if you don't, trust me, there's only so far you can go. So I think I'm making taking care of my body and working out and going to the gym a real priority. Please, I'm not an expert. I'm just starting. Even some of the commitments, I look at it, they look at me, we look at each other, and then I move to do sports. I don't know what I'm doing, but I know it's eventually, as time goes on, I will get the hang of things. Number two is your mind. Like, if you want to make 2022 a year to remember, you need to tap into this, and you really need to like nourish this fully. Essentially, reading has changed everything for me this year. Like, I decided I'm gonna read a lot more this year, and oh my gosh, like, I have been able to grow, to really, push myself to new levels, improve myself, like change my mindset on a lot of things, just change my thought processes and grow at a quicker rate. A book really sometimes contains like someone's whole life story. So 40 years of that person's life, if you're reading like a non-fiction book, it's in 300 pages. You are getting that, and depending on how long it takes you to read, you basically are digesting 40 years of experience in a book. And I've done that so much. So like this year, I think I'm currently on book 23. So like my mind has shifted. The way that I see things in life, has really shifted. And there's a few great books that have really helped me with my, just habits and changing. Number one, I would definitely say has been 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That has been just such a game changer. I think that's when like my mindset shifted. And then lastly, your soul. And I'm not really only just talking about mentally and spiritually, like, taking care of your soul. I'm not even just talking about that, but I'm also talking about your soul as in who you are. Because if you really want to make 2022 a year to remember, I think it's so important that you need to understand, like, and it leads like slightly into my next point of like the voices around you, but like you need to take care of like who you are as a core. And like if you're trying to like maybe level up or like do things differently, it's so important to really think about like the voices that are around you, the voices that are are tapping into like who you are, because sorry, I can get some now, but like no, the voices that are really like tapping into like who you are, because essentially without you realizing it, that is going to those around you, the relationships around you, like as in like your core, as like people that you go to for when you're vulnerable, right? That will have a big impact on your soul, like, and who you are and what you want to do. And so I think it's so important for you to take care of like who you are, and maybe some of the ideas or the things or like the person you want to be. Like, really check the voices around you. Are there certain people that you don't need to be telling certain things to, because maybe it's fresh and it's new, and already from past experiences that when you share certain things, sometimes it doesn't really happen because a doubt is plugged, or like they may say something and you're like, oh, that's actually true. So sometimes it's better to keep it to yourself. And then lastly, I think the best way that we can make 2022 a year to remember is understanding that it's a journey. And a journey, starts with one step at a time. So building up those daily habits and doing things consistently over time. Sometimes we take the year as a whole big, idea and think, yeah, I'm gonna make it phenomenal year. I'm gonna do this and this and this. And sometimes nothing ever happens, right? Because we don't break it down into like small and manageable steps. And this kind of comes hand in hand with the first tip I was given with like planning and strategy, right? But everything then comes down to small steps and setting those small and actionable goals. And I think there's 2 great books here that like I've read this year that can really help with setting actionable and manageable habits. Number 1 is Atomic Habits. If you haven't read that, that's a game changer, a great book. Because like one thing I always remember, like he talks about, if you want to build great habits, for example, make sure that there's as little friction as possible. You make it easier for yourself. For example, if you want to go gym every day, putting your bag in front of the door, or a note on your wall to make sure that you are able to complete that. So it's making sure that you're making it easier for yourself and less friction, it's like less resistance, and you're going to do it. And then another book I would suggest is The Compound Effect, which I talk about this book a lot. I really did enjoy that. Like I read that at the beginning of the year. No, what I'm talking about. Like I read that in June and I loved it. Like it was such a good book. And that even talks about like, how once you do small manageable things after a period of time, right, there's a compounding effect. So it builds up. And before you look at it, you'll be like, I don't remember that girl. I don't remember. I've changed, and I like this. I like it a lot. So yeah, that book is really good. This brings me to the end of this video on how we can make 2022 a year to remember. I would honestly love to know if there's any tips that you have picked up or things that have helped you over 2021 that you like to share. Please do leave it in the comment section. Let's share, let's go together, let's make 2022 a year to remember. And yeah, that's it for me, guys. See you next time. Bye.